for coming here. Anybody that's around here, gather around. We're doing a Q&A right now live, and we're also live on the channel. I have my good buddy Amanda right here from Seachem. She's gonna help us out on the live stream. She is absolutely brand new to African cichlids. We're gonna call her a day one starter, doesn't know a single thing, so she's gonna throw some questions that some of you may have when starting an African cichlid tank, and I'll try to answer them as best as I can. For those of you that didn't make it here at Aquashella, I'm sorry to say you can't get any coffee or donuts, but we have a bunch of coffee and donuts. If you're here at Aquashella, come on by, grab some coffee and donuts. And we're also giving away free signed autographed copies of my book. If you're here, you guys are gonna get free ones, definitely, and I got you signed. You guys can take a seat if you want, ask any questions and hang out, or you can stand there, that's all good too. Well, we're live right now. So I just mentioned to the stream, Amanda's brand new at African cichlids, so she's gonna ask some beginner questions. If you guys think of any other questions you might have, go ahead and shoot them out, and we'll try to help out as much as we can. So Amanda, first of all, what do you like about African cichlids?
Oh man, they're so colorful. For freshwater fish, they are the most colorful and beautiful fish that you can have in the tank. You don't have salt water. That's what I think.
I agree with that. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Do you agree with that?
She had a question?
Say it again, repeat it.
Can you have any kind of cichlid in the tank?
So she asked if you could have any kind of cichlid in the tank. The answer to that is most likely no, because they're cichlids from South America, Central America, African cichlids, and they all have different water parameters. So you want to keep the cichlids that are come from the same water parameters so that they thrive in the tank water that you keep. Right?
So let's say I want to set up a cichlid tank for the first time. What would you recommend to be the best beginner cichlids?
So beginner cichlids themselves, I would go with any kind of peacock and hap combination.
Okay.
Mostly because they're all pretty much aggressive, but the peacocks and haps, in my opinion, are less aggressive than, let's say, imbunas. Those guys are a little bit more territorial and a little bit more aggressive. So any peacock and hap mix is going to work pretty well. As far as the tank goes, starting, you always want to start minimum of 55-gallon tank. The reason why many suggest 55 gallons as the starting tank size is that's the first tank that gives you the 48-inch length. Anything smaller than 55 gallons doesn't have that 48-inch length. So African cichlids like that left to right swimming space.
And then lots of rocks, of course, lots of hiding places.
Now, if you're keeping imbunas, you do want a lot of rocks and a lot of hiding places. Because like I said, imbunas are more territorial. They like those little hiding spots to hang out in. If you keep peacocks and haps, for them, you don't necessarily need too many rocks and hiding places because they're more free-swimming type fish. And they like that open water to swim free. So that's the difference in the core, depending on what type you keep.
Could I have plants in a tank with cichlids?
Question from the audience, can you have plants in a tank with cichlids? So most African cichlids are omnivores, meaning they eat meats and veggies, protein and veggies, and most of them are going to either eat all of your plants or just destroy them in general. They're going to uproot them, pull them out, especially imbunas. Imbunas are going to go after the plants like crazy. So very difficult to keep plants, but with that said, there are some people out there that are successful keeping some type of plants, but it's like rolling the dice. You get lucky sometimes. Yes, sir. That's my man Jamie. What's up, Jamie?
About the only way I've successfully kept plants to like pothos or something that run outside.
That's a great point. That's a great point. So my man Jamie brings up a great point. For those of you that are interested in plants with African cichlids, for the benefits that you get of keeping plants, meaning water quality, keeping your nitrates down, a great plant to use that Jamie just suggested is pothos, because pothos is a plant that you can hang over the top of the tank and let the roots go down into the water. The fish won't go after the roots, and you get some nice pretty leaves on top, and you get all the benefits of the nitrate reduction in your tank. Thank you, Jamie. That was awesome. Hey, Louise. Hey. Hey, Jamie. Another Jamie. We're live right now, guys, so say hi to the stream. This is my man Luis from Seachem. Don't be shy. Come on over here. Luis from Seachem is here. And Jamie from Aquarium Info just got here. Hi, Jamie. Nice to see you. Good to meet you. My birthday's tomorrow. Thank you. Jamie, remember that. I like that. Thank you. Amanda, so what else you got?
All right, so let's talk about parameters, maybe.
Okay, made.
Okay, so tell me a little bit, like if I am keeping the haps and the peacocks, what parameters am I aiming for? Like
Great question.
Parameters, pH.
Great questions. So I think the very first thing that people have to deal with when keeping Africans is aggression, and then the next thing is the parameters. So for most African cichlids, we keep them in a higher pH and harder water. Everybody's source water is different. So depending on your source water, how hard it is, how soft it is, you may need to change the chemical composition of your water. But African cichlids in general require higher pH and hard water. And Seachem makes a bunch of great products to help you raise your pH, raise your water hardness, either with cichlid salts, Malawi buffers, alkaline buffers, and in the reverse, if you need to lower your pH because your water's too hard, Seachem also makes those chemicals to help you soften your water and lower your pH. Jamie and I had a long conversation last night about pH, GH, and KH. I remember.
We run several different types of water, RODI, salt, whole salt softener system. And for different planet tanks.
You're live, Jamie.
My wife has a planet tank, and the KH is way too high for this plant. So we use RODI, remineralize it with some.
So Jamie's talking about using RODI water, which basically strips all the minerals. It strips everything from your water. And then when you use ROD water, it's the safest water to use, but you got to remineralize that water to give the fish what they need to thrive. So as good as it is to use it, you also have to make sure you put in the work to remineralize.
Right.
Okay, guys. Anything else for me? Okay, I appreciate you guys and your questions.
I recommend using hardscape to raise the water and all.
That too, yes. There are other great question, very natural sources to raise your hardness and pH, like limestone. You can use limestone as a decor. That's going to release the calcium and magnesium to harden your water. You can also use substrate like aragonite sand. Aragonite sand is a great substrate to use, which adds the buffer to your water and raises your pH. Another great one is crushed coral. Crushed coral, you can also use either one of those as a substrate. If you don't want to mess with your substrate too much, you can add crushed coral in a bag and put that bag inside your filter. And that will create the same effect of the acidic water running over the crushed coral, and then it will release the minerals and add the buffer to your water, keeping your pH nice and high.
Texas Holy Rock.
Texas Holy Rock. That's another one. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What about breeding? So if I took the next step and I wanted to breed cichlids, what would you say, like, steps to get there?
That is such a good question that I don't have a solid answer for it. Because my man Jamie does. Well, so I'm not into breeding too much. Those of you that follow the channel know I have bred one time, and I'm raising some fry right now.
Nice.
But it's not my forte.
Okay.
And most of the reason why also is because I am a big believer of keeping an all male African cichlid tank. Because when you mix females in there with them, the aggression levels just go crazy.
Okay.
So that's why I don't have too much breeding going on. But it's super easy to get them to breed. If you have males and females in there together, they are going to breed.
Right.
Jamie has a whole bunch of fish that he just recently bred, and he's the guy to definitely answer questions like that. What's your Facebook page, Jamie?
Peacock and Hap Cichlids of Central Illinois.
Peacock and Hap Cichlids of Central Illinois. Check that out on Facebook. Jamie's got a bunch of answers on breeding.
I got a couple questions from online.
Okay, we got some questions from the live stream. I'm gonna ask. Go ahead. Sure, David.
What's the best way to do big water changes without crashing the cycle?
What's the best way to do big water changes without crashing your cycle? So, I'm gonna tell you right now, you definitely need some Seachem Prime. When you're doing big water changes, the issues are matching the parameters that were in your tank before the big water change. So if you're adding in a bunch of new water that probably has a lot of chlorine in it, Seachem Prime is going to remove that chlorine, as well as detoxify ammonia nitrite and nitrate. That's the next question? Okay, I gotta read that again in a minute.
No problem.
And again, if you're keeping African cichlids and your source water is different from your tank water, you want to make sure to match that pH and that temperature. Because if you don't match it, any swings in pH and temperature are the first things that's going to cause stress to your fish. And once your fish are stressed out, they're susceptible to any types of diseases.
Adding some bacteria in there, also probably not a bad idea.
That's a great question. Say that again, Amanda?
Adding bacteria is probably not a bad idea either when you do big water changes.
So especially when you have a brand new tank that's very immature, when you're doing big water changes, you could disturb a lot of things and disturb a lot of your bacteria. So especially in the beginning, adding something like Seachem Stability to your tank is always going to be beneficial. It's not necessary when your tanks are very mature, but it's also not going to hurt.
Right.
And it's only going to be beneficial adding more bacteria to make sure your tank does not crash when you're doing big water changes. What was that next question? Best cichlid for neutral 7 pH. So, not going to be African cichlids. For a neutral pH, you're going to want to go with either South American or Central American cichlids, which thrive in that neutral pH water. Something like Oscars or Severums or Geos, or you can even keep Discus in a 7 pH water. I know a lot of people think Discus have to be kept in really low pH and very soft water, but these Discus nowadays that are being bred in the stores, they can acclimate very well to a more neutral range of pH. Hi guys, if you have any questions for me, let me know. We're live. Hey, I see you, John. Come on over here. You can't walk by and not say hi. Guys, John from KG Tropicals. Hey, John.
How are you?
Come on, say hi. Come on by. I need you here. I need you here.
That's fine. Hi.
Guys,
Hello.
I don't know if it's impossible for you not to know John from KG Tropicals, but this is John. Welcome, John.
Y'all know this guy, because he's the superstar, not me.
Thank you, John. Thank you. Thank you. Good to see you again. Good to see you. Okay, hi. Anybody has any questions for me? Hi. Any questions for me?
I watch you all the time. So
Great.
I'm doing pretty good.
Okay, great. Oh, you're doing good because you watch the channel. She's doing great. She don't have any questions because she watches the channel. That's awesome. I love it. I love it. Guys, also, we're giving away free prime bottles. We're giving away t-shirts. And at the end of this Q&A, I'm giving away free autographed copies of the book. In case you don't have it, this is going to help you get... She already has it. She doesn't need it. She doesn't need anything. I love it. I love it. But you'll get a signed copy today. That'll be cool, right? Hi, guys. Hi, guys. One more question from the stream. How much sand do you need for a tank? I'd say minimum 2 inches off the bottom, but you could go as much as 4 inches or 5 if you wanted a deep sand bed. A deep sand bed is going to create possibly anaerobic bacteria in your sand bed, which can help with reducing your nitrates, but then you also have to be careful of nitrate gas pockets forming in your sand. So if you have a really deep sand bed, you want to occasionally brush through the sand and let some of that nitrogen gas out so you don't create like a nitrogen bomb. That makes sense.
If you have cichlids, they'll do it for you.
If you have cichlids that love to sift through the sand like African cichlids, they are a huge help in making sure those nitrogen pockets don't form. That was great, great. I love that. Hey guys, welcome everybody, welcome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are in the background. Come on. Thank you, I appreciate that. Yes.
You might have covered this, and I might have missed it, on UV sterilizers.
Okay.
Temporary, maybe not all the time, but maybe for a little bit with each tank.
So for me personally, I know a lot of people in the hobby use UV sterilizers. They're great for reducing algae. They help with making your water more clear. But me personally, I can just say I have never used a UV sterilizer in my freshwater tank. I just don't. For me, it's not necessary because I do all the other things to make the water clear, and it's not necessary for UV. But I know that many people use it and they love it, and it works very well for them. I think that more people use it in the reef side, I think, to prevent algae growth, and that's very beneficial over there. Hey guys, welcome. If you have any questions for me, shoot them out. We're giving out free prime bottles, we're giving out free t-shirts, and we're giving out free books for anybody that wants some. Okay. What kind of pleco do you have? Is it like a common pleco? How big is it? Is it really big?
It's still a baby.
Okay, usually at that size, they do pretty good work. But he's not doing any work. Okay, so I like to use bristlenose plecos. They stay around 5 or 6 inches. They don't grow that big, and they're workhorses. They go after that algae like crazy. But another thing besides just the pleco, you also want to make sure that your lights aren't staying on for too long.
I've been training myself to do that.
Too much light is food for algae, and if your nitrate levels rise too high or you got too many phosphates in your tank, that's also food for algae. So if you reduce all those things, that'll help with the algae. And try bristlenose pleco. Those guys, they're workhorses. They're animals.
Thank you.
No problem. Did you ask a question, Amanda? Okay. Guys, if you didn't already know, we have free coffee and donuts right here. Go ahead and grab some. Grab some coffee, get some coffee and you grab some donuts. And then after we do the Q&A, we'll do some free books as well. Hi guys, if you have a question for me, just shoot it out. We're live on the channel. Those of you live on the stream, you missed the Aquashella. If you look around, all these people here can tell you that Aquashella is awesome. If you've never been to one, guys, if you've never been to Aquashella, what do you think you should tell everybody on the street? Should they try an Aquashella? If you didn't hear that, they all said yes. Amanda, any other questions you might have as far as wanting to keep African cichlids?
What about filtration? Tell me a little bit about proper filtration that I should have.
That's a great question. Thank you, Amanda.
Yeah.
So, with African cichlids, one of the things that we all learn very early on is that overstocking is key. So, overstocking reduces aggression. Remember before I told you, first thing you learn is aggression. So, since you're overstocking your tank, you're gonna need a lot of filtration. And most of the time, it's probably about double the filtration that you think you might need for your tank. Why? You gotta turn that water over more times than not. And your extra filtration is also gonna help in keeping that water nice and crystal clear. On top of that, because you have such a heavy bioload, it's very good to have more biomedia available in your extra filtration. Seachem Matrix is a great biomedia that not only is going to keep your tank cycled the whole time, but after 4, 5, or 6 months with Seachem Matrix in your filters, I've already proven this myself with my own tanks. You'll also be able to grow anaerobic bacteria, which will help in reducing the nitrate levels in your overstock tank, which is going to have pretty high nitrate levels.
What about like chemical media? Like would you use carbon or what types of chemical filtration would you do?
So chemical media can also absolutely help in making your water crystal clear and removing some of those nitrates, absorbing a lot of dissolved organics. Seachem has Purigen, which works like a charm. If you ever use Purigen, you already know it's going to make your water super crystal clear. There's also activated carbon. Seachem has a carbon as well, matrix carbon. That's going to help your water crystal clear. Now, I tell everybody all the time, using chemical media is not absolutely necessary. You don't have to use it. You do everything else to keep your water crystal clear, but you want that little bit more, like to the next level of clarity. Purigen or carbon matrix is the next level. Great question. You look like you got a question for me. No?
He's answering my question.
Oh, okay. No problem. Jamie, how was your night last night? All right? Yeah, he was. I saw how many times you called him. And I told him, I said, tell him you're talking to Kev and he'll be fine. He didn't want to answer. He was in the zone. He was in the zone. All right, I think we're good. All right, guys, thank you for
one more question.
One more question from the stream. Okay.
They're buying cichlids online. How many can they quarantine in a 38-gallon tank?
Ooh, a 38-gallon tank. If you're buying cichlids, it really depends on the size, obviously, right? If you're buying them juvenile or smaller in a 38-gallon tank, you can keep a lot of them. Honestly, you could keep how many?
They asked 10.
10 fish in a 38-gallon? Absolutely. You're only going to keep them there for about a month. I say a month, but we generally quarantine for probably less, even though we should keep them for a month. But I know a lot of us can't quarantine that long, myself included. I'm guilty as well. So for that time period, it's okay to keep 10 fish in a 38. That's plenty. That's more than enough size. What I will say is that if you do notice that any one or two of them are starting to get very dominant and be aggressive with the other fish, then you may need to separate those one or two before the quarantine time is up. But if you don't see any aggression, everybody's eating well, swimming around, not too much fighting and fin nipping, you can keep them in there until quarantine is over. Great question, streamer.
All right, one more question.
One more question from Amanda.
How often do you do water changes?
So, me personally, and they all laugh. Look, everybody laughs because they know. So I keep an overstocked African cichlid tank. My nitrates rise really high every week. Even though I'm currently using Matrix, which is helping with that now, I stay consistent with my water changes. I do 80% water changes every single week, especially every Sunday. And now that football is back, I like to put on the football game and do my water change, and I do it every week religiously. Why? Removing a lot of the nitrates is always going to be beneficial for your fish. Big water changes also helps with their growth, their overall color, their health. And I like to make sure that the water is always clean and pristine for them. On my discus tank, thing because discus tend to be a little bit more sensitive to higher nitrates than Africans. So in the discus tank, you want to keep those nitrates as low as possible. So since I'm doing already 80% a week, I just go ahead and do the other at 80% a week too. Great question. Great question.
What about using plants like a mesh bag?
So that question was asked earlier about plants. You said in a mesh bag. So I don't know I'm not too heavy with the plants. I don't keep plants with my Africans. But I mentioned earlier, Louis knows all about plants. Louis, he asked about plants in a mesh bag in the tank. You think that? Okay, so with that'll work. That's the question that she asked earlier. Like pothos specifically, you can have the pothos, the leaves hanging up over the tank with the roots down into the water, and that'll work really well because most of the fish are not going to mess with the roots at all. It's pretty tank. So here's my.
He's actually asking media bag. The plants inside to grow up?
You're asking about the roots in the roots.
To the water to get the nitrates.
Yeah, so you want it to look pretty, that's why, right?
No, it goes up on top.
Yeah, like pothos on top and the roots in the water.
Right.
What I do, and this is a big step though, I have 3D backgrounds in my tank. So what I do, I put the pothos over the top and the roots are behind the background in the water. So you can't see any of the roots, but you get the benefits of the plants up on top. If you don't have a 3D background, what you could do, like where your heater or your intake is, put the plant on that side and hang the roots behind that. And then you can't see the roots either. And that way you keep a nice pretty tank.
But you still keep it in the mesh bag, right?
You don't necessarily don't need it in the bag. You can just let the roots hang into the water. If none of the fish are messing with it, then you're good.
I got it.
There you go. There you go. My man Kev is here. Come on to the stream, Kev. Kev from New York. I gotta tell you guys a story. I'm glad you made it because we were about to come on here on this side. We were about to wrap up the stream. This is my man Kev. Kev, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
For the second, third time. Me and Kev met at the last Aquashella in Dallas, right? Hit it off because he's a cool guy. Look how cool he is. Look at that. Super cool, right? So we hit it off in Dallas. Then at the end of the Aquashella in Dallas, everybody goes back to the hotel or wherever they stay at. We ran into each other at the hotel. We were staying at the same hotel. Then we went to the airport to go fly back to New York.
I see you on the same plane.
We ran into each other at the airport in Dallas. Then we boarded the plane. We met each other in the plane. Then when we landed in New York, we met again outside the Before that, in the airport in New York. Hey, you're here. Oh, same place, same flight. Then we went outside to call our taxis, and we met up again at the taxi spot, waiting for the Uber.
That's right.
And we didn't plan any of that.
Hey, good seeing you.
Glad you came by again, man. Good seeing you again. Yes, sir. As soon as we get this done, I got you hooked up. Stick around. We're about to wrap up.
I'm gonna stick around.
Thank you, Kev. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you to all of you guys that were here asking questions. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Thanks to all of you guys that watched the stream. Make sure you come to the next Aquashella and stop by the Seachem booth because today we're giving out coffee, donuts. We're giving out a tank. We're giving out free t-shirts. We're giving out free Prime bottles. We're giving out free books. If you want free stuff, come to the Seachem booth. If you're not here at this Aquashella, come to the next Aquashella. We hope to see you guys there. Thank you guys. Peace. All right.